Hi, Taehyung Lovers around the world. Welcome back to the Taehyung Lovers channel. If you clicked on this video expecting something light and quickly forgettable, pause for a moment. Because the first 3 seconds of this story are not about stadium cheers, not about camera flashes, but about one question that made the worlds of entertainment and sports fall silent at the same time. Why Kim Taehyung? January 2026 became a month that drew global attention when Kim Taehyung was confirmed to have received a special invitation from Gianni Infantino, the President of FIFA, to attend the 2026 World Cup, a gesture that clearly did not come without reason. At this point, the name Taehyung no longer stands only as a musician or K-pop idol, but has transformed into a symbol of global influence capable of moving emotions, conversations, and the attention of younger generations across continents, especially in America and around the world. However, behind that brief piece of news, there are layers of story that are far deeper and more unsettling. This is not merely about an artist on the biggest sporting stage in the world. This is a story about a shift in cultural power, about how music, art, and identity now sit on equal footing with football on the map of global influence. When FIFA is no longer just talking about matches, but also about who is capable of uniting the emotions of millions of people at the same time. History has shown how the world reacted when Jungkook performed at the opening of the Qatar World Cup. Now, many eyes are turned to Kim Taehyung, a figure who offers influence in a different way, quieter, deeper, and precisely because of that, feeling even stronger. In the midst of preparations for BTS's comeback to the major Arirang 2026 project, Taehyung's silence instead triggers questions, speculation, and even public anger. And this is where the story becomes interesting, because Taehyung does not give quick answers. He lets the empty space speak. He lets the world wait. Is this silence a strategy or an artistic statement that refuses to be confined by expectations? Stay with this video, because we will dissect layer by layer the story that places Kim Taehyung at the center of global attention without having to say much. January 2026 became a month that drew the attention of both the entertainment and sports worlds at once. Kim Taehyung was confirmed to have received a special invitation from Gianni Infantino, the President of FIFA, to attend the 2026 World Cup, a gesture that did not come without reason. The name Taehyung now no longer belongs only to the music stage, but has transformed into a symbol of global influence, especially among younger generations in America and around the world. However, behind that brief news, there are layers of story that are far deeper and more unsettling. This is not merely about a K-pop idol at the biggest sporting event in the world. This is about how the power of pop culture, symbolic power, and global strategy collide within a single name, Kim Taehyung. When FIFA is no longer just about football, FIFA understands one thing that is often underestimated by the public. The World Cup is no longer solely about football. It is a stage of cultural geopolitics, a showcase of soft power, and a battleground for the attention of younger generations. In internal reports often discussing global entertainment industry forums, Generation Z and Alpha are described as audiences that are difficult to retain. They are not loyal to a single platform, a single country, or a single type of entertainment. It is at this point that the name Kim Taehyung becomes relevant. Not only popular, but emotionally binding. Not only known, but trusted. Data from various media analytics institutions show that every appearance of Taehyung, whether on stage, on social media, or through artistic projects, triggers a surge in cross-country conversations within minutes. Not merely trending. This is a resonance effect. Gianni Infantino, a figure known to be highly conscious of FIFA's global image, clearly does not operate based on intuition alone. The invitation to Taehyung is a strategic decision, a signal that FIFA is reading the changing times very seriously. History has proven that when Jungkook performed at the opening of the 2022 Qatar World Cup, the world seemed to stop for a moment. Music, sports, and pop culture merged into one iconic moment that is still discussed to this day. Streaming numbers surged. Western mainstream media, which usually keeps its distance from K-pop, suddenly opened their front pages. However, precisely because of this precedent, the public became more critical, even angry. Many asked, is FIFA riding on BTS's popularity? Or conversely, Is BTS rewriting the map of global cultural power? Gianni Infantino seems to see similar potential, perhaps even greater, in the figure of Kim Taehyung. If Jungkook delivered a musical explosion, Taehyung offers something different: depth, aura, and mystery. An influence that is not noisy, but strikes slowly and lasts long. At the same time, Taehyung is immersed in major preparations. BTS has come back with the Arirang 2026 project, a project that internal sources within the music industry describe as BTS's return with the most mature and political approach of their entire career. Arirang is not merely a title. It is a symbol of Korean identity, collective history, and diaspora emotion, linking this project with the momentum of the World Cup. Both in timing and symbolism is a move that could shake the global cultural landscape. And this is what makes the public uneasy. To date, there has been no official confirmation from Taehyung regarding his involvement in the 2026 World Cup series. This silence instead fuels wild speculation. Some call it strategy. Some accuse of a power play. Others feel angry, believing the public is being toyed with by uncertainty. But it is precisely here that Taehyung's style works. A face that is freer because it is not defined, and more sincere because it is not fixated. This sentence is not merely a description, but key to understanding the artistic stance of VSSI. Through this photo book, he once again chooses a path rarely taken, refusing to find himself. In a world that loves to assign labels idol, actor, fashion icon, global ambassador, the choice to remain fluid becomes the loudest statement of all. The silence of that stance speaks louder than 1,000 explanations. This is what makes some people uncomfortable. The modern public is accustomed to being given quick answers. Taehyung instead offers empty space. And empty space, for many people, feels threatening. The exclusive Type 5 video comes with a bold and unique concept, as if breaking the assumption that art must submit to certain boundaries. There is no pampering narrative. There is no instant aesthetic. What exists is a sequence of visuals that demand the viewer to feel, not merely to see. It asserts that art is never narrow, cannot be confined to a single form, style, or expectation. Every photo shoot feels intentional, artistic, measured, and executed with full awareness. Nothing is accidental. Everything is a mature aesthetic choice. This is Taehyung's visual language, silent, yet resonant. And here lies the provocation. When the entertainment industry races to chase algorithms, Taehyung instead seems to say, if you are not willing to stop and think, this work is not for you. When an artist signs his work with the essence of himself, the work ceases to be a label and turns into authorship. THV appears not merely as a name, but as an intellectual brand, a marker that whatever appears under that name is born from personal consciousness, not market orders. Meanwhile, the character holds deeper layers of meaning about refusal, about not submitting, about the courage to stand outside the current. This is not a marketing strategy. This is a signature, a concept, a presence that remains silent, yet undeniable. The world waits, and that makes many people uncomfortable. Now, expectations hang in the air. Will Taehyung confirm his presence and once again create a historic moment at the 2026 World Cup? Or will he choose to remain in the gray area where art, identity, and influence cannot be squeezed into a single simple headline? The world waits, holding its breath. Some are full of enthusiasm. Some are angry because they receive no certainty. Others are afraid because they realize one thing that is rarely spoken honestly. True influence does not always come with a grand announcement. Sometimes it arrives in silence, and precisely because of that, it cannot be ignored. Now it's your turn. Is Taehyung's silence a stroke of genius strategy, or is it the subtlest form of resistance against the global industry? Write your opinion. The world is reading.